It appears Amazon might be giving you a little bit more of a warning before they kick you off their third-party selling platform.
Xbox,
Twitter, Uber, Postmates,
Netflix, MoviePass,
Google, Facebook, eBay,
DoorDash, Apple, Amazon, Airbnb,
The Apptrepreneur. Hey everyone, this is Kevin, the Apptrepreneur, and one of the things I would love to do personally, I would really love to do this to help support this channel and what I do, is to link to my Amazon and eBay stores below. I do run them, and I make a fair amount of money off of them too, but I can't do that. People have asked sometimes, hey Kevin, what stores do you have? What's their names? Can I go buy something from them? And every time the answer is no. And the reason the answer is no is because Amazon is the most controlling, draconian place you can actually ever go. They expect less than 1% of your orders to be defects. They have an ODR system, the order defect rate. And less than 1% of these orders need to be negative. And fairly recently, I have no shame saying this, by the way, I made a mistake. I shipped someone a Spanish copy of a book as opposed to an English copy. It was an honest mistake. I would have gladly fixed the problem. But the person who, got the book decided they wanted to just leave a negative comment. Now, interestingly, they lied in the comment. They said they had emailed me twice and didn't get a response. Never happened, by the way. But, hey, the comment stands, the negative feedback that is, so that means now my ODR metric is at 10% and I am in danger of being kicked off of Amazon again. And it can happen at any moment. It got so bad, and I don't admit, I find no shame in admitting this. I actually called some friends, had them buy cheap little things on the site, I paid them back, and had them leave positive comments to fudge the ODR. You don't mess around with Amazon. If they say they're about to kick you off, you do what you can to stay on the platform. However, maybe I will have more of a heads up from this point on before being kicked off, because according to this article, Amazon is updating suspension policy, although sellers are still worried about getting inexplicitly booted, for very good reason, of course. So, Amazon made sweeping changes to its terms of service for third-party sellers on Wednesday in an effort to address an issue that's plagued the biggest piece of its e-commerce business. As part of a settlement it reached with German antitrust authorities over its marketplace policies, Amazon said it will now give a 30-day notice to sellers facing suspensions and provide specific reasons to those who are blocked for, quote, alleged legal infringements. Until now, Amazon could terminate seller accounts at any time without justification, and I know it's happened, by the way, to me and to people I know, according to the agreement announced by the Federal Cartel Office of Germany. But sellers and marketplace experts who have become all too familiar with Amazon's increasingly cavalier approach to suspensions are worried that the changes set to go into effect globally on August 16th don't go far enough to protect merchants from having their business suddenly disrupted or even decimated without recourse. Because, by the way, there's almost no way to get into contact with these people. In fact, in regards to that negative feedback I got, I actually requested Amazon remove it. I said, hey, it's slander. The guy said that he tried to email me twice and I didn't respond. That's just not true. You can see the records. He never emailed me once. And they were like, well, the customer expressed dissatisfaction, therefore the negative feedback stays. It's like, what? So, yeah, it's hard to talk to them, and this is still a valid concern. Let's see here. Quote, it's a good step forward, but the update fails to address some of the root cause issues around the suspension problem, said Peter Kerms, a former Amazon marketplace manager who now works for 180 Commerce, providing consulting and strategy services to third-party sellers. The marketplace has been a blessing and a curse for Amazon since the company flung open its doors to many more outside sellers around the world, particularly from China. Third-party merchants now account for 58% of items sold on Amazon, up from 31% a decade ago, and produce higher margins than Amazon's retail model because sellers pay for all sorts of services like storage, shipping, and advertising, and keep Amazon from having to spend so much on inventory. And by the way, while that might be a positive thing, that's also a negative thing for Amazon because eBay can do this too, and eBay's making a big comeback. And this also puts Amazon in a precarious situation because when these are where you're making your money. These, like, the sellers are where you're making your money. 58% of items, you know, it makes it a lot harder to just ban them and suspend them and pull them from the platforms nilly-willy, but they'll continue to do it. Third-party sellers are kicking our first-party butt, Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos wrote in his annual shareholder letter this year. And as you can see, definitely raised quite a bit. But with millions of new sellers sourcing products from tons of unvetted manufacturers, counterfeits have fled the marketplace, leading to a swarm of infringement claims. As Amazon has cracked down on counterfeit problem by aggressively suspending abusers, many honest sellers have gotten kicked off as well, and Amazon has been unable to manage the deluge of complaints. Germany's antitrust office wrote in the agreement that it looked into the suspension problem mainly because, quote, numerous sellers complained about the unsubstantiated and surprising cancellations and resulting loss of turnover. U.S. regulators haven't taken specific action, but presidential candidates, including Senator Elizabeth Warren and Senator Bernie Sanders, have publicly criticized the company for having too much market power, and European Union officials recently launched an antitrust investigation into Amazon's business practice regarding third-party sellers, which deserved to happen, by the way. Seller anecdotes, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that for some reason, of wrong terminations are not hard to find. For example, CNBC previously reported that one seller got suspended after a fake law firm filed a false complaint, while another seller was attacked and wrongfully suspended by a competitor calling himself the virus of Amazon. These false complaints, by the way, they happen all the time. You want to know why they happen? Because if you file an A to Z claim, you get the item and you get your money back. Like on eBay might say, okay, the person who sold you the item was wrong. Send the item back and you'll get your money back. Not Amazon. Amazon, they just say, oh, you weren't happy? Keep the money. And yeah, don't bother sending the item back because he made a mistake, right? So yeah, people are totally incentivized to false claim something. Although, just to let you know, if you do 50 of these things, you might find your Amazon.com account, permanently suspended. So make sure you do it for good stuff like PlayStation 4s and Nintendo Switches instead of DVDs and stuff. I'm being totally sarcastic, by the way. I don't recommend you do this. Last year, small business called Cheapskates Liquidators was suspended because of incorrect claims that it sold inauthentic items, and in trying to get reinstated, the company entered a dark hole of unresponsiveness. In the update agreement shared with third-party sellers on Wednesday and viewed by CNBC, Amazon included a redlined version that compares the old and new language. Here's the most relevant part of suspension. So here's what the old version said. We may terminate or suspend this agreement or any service for any reason at any time by notice to you. So that's the old version, like one sentence, pretty much. But now this new version has several. We may terminate your use of any services or terminate this agreement for convenience within 30 days advance notice. We may suspend or terminate your use of any services immediately if we determine that A, you have materially breached the agreement and failed to cure within 7 days of a cure notice unless your breach exposes us to liability toward a third party, in which case we are entitled to reduce or waive the aforementioned cure period at our reasonable discretion. B, your account has been or our controls identify that it may be used for deceptive or fraudulent or illegal activities, or C, your use of the services has harmed or our controls identify that it might harm other sellers, customers, or Amazon's legitimate interests. We will promptly notify you of any such termination or suspension via email or similar means, including Seller Central, indicating the reason and any options to appeal, except where we have reason to believe that providing this information will hinder the investigation or prevention of deceptive, fraudulent, or illegal activities, or will enable you to circumvent our safeguards. It's like a whole lot of ways to just say we may terminate or suspend this agreement anytime, huh? Chris McCabe, a former Amazon employee who now helps sellers get reinstated and stay compliant, said he's encouraged by the update but still needs to see how it's implemented. The 30-day notice will give sellers more opportunity to respond to unfair suspensions and make their case, but the rest of the language is vague and gives Amazon plenty of leeway, which I agree with. Quote, they need better training and to be more specific in terms of reason and casualty around the suspensions. Much of McCabe's time is spent helping sellers file their appeals for reinstatement and finding the right person inside Amazon to actually see the documentation because so many of the processes are automated and the system is overwhelmed. Slow response times and the lack of awareness that employees have about specific violations result in small businesses losing revenue at critical times of the year, like the holiday season or Prime Day. Furthermore, Amazon suspension notices often don't provide specific remedies, making it difficult for sellers to understand the corrective actions they need to take. In an emailed statement, an Amazon spokesperson said the updates are intended to, quote, clarify selling partner rights and responsibilities. Never their own, of course. These changes allow Amazon to continue to protect our customers and selling partners from abuse while making explicit our practice of providing notice and offering a path to appeal our decisions for sellers who believe we've incorrectly taken action against their accounts, the company said. In online seller forums, merchants have voiced their complaints about issues like a lack of clarity in emails from Amazon representatives and low levels of engagement. One seller who was suspended for violating a little-known pricing policy wrote about the frustrating nature of the appeals process. Email correspondence between Amazon and other suspended seller shows how challenging it is to dispute certain allegations. So, and then they talk about all of that stuff. Now, in another article, which I don't have picked up here, it is pointed out that this is not worldwide. It is in Germany, it's in Europe, I believe it's in Asia, and it's in some parts of North America. Like, what some parts mean, I don't know. Could mean Canada, could be America, maybe it's just several states, maybe it's Seattle, I don't know. So, here's the thing. I'm glad that Amazon is at least in some areas forced to give a 30-day notice. I think that is a huge step in the right direction for third-party sellers. Unfortunately, as you saw that long thing, there's a lot of leeway, and Amazon could still say, oh, well, you did this, which resulted in this, which resulted in this, which means we have the right to terminate your account today. And not yesterday, not tomorrow, today. And by the way, you can try to appeal, but we're not exactly going to tell you what you did because you did this, which resulted in this. We don't have to actually tell you. So, yeah, it's very, very complicated. I think it's going to take a little bit more than just this one change. But it's part of a settlement, so what do you expect? I think once Amazon and other companies are forced to actually pay for their monopolistic ways, well, maybe the third-party seller thing would... Here's the thing. I think Amazon, if they could, they'd just get rid of the third-party sellers. Because it probably bothers Amazon quite a bit that they're the number one e-commerce place in the world, number one retailer, number one everything, and yet 58% of their business is on the backs of third-party sellers. So, hey, if they canceled it, terminated them, those people would go other places. They'd go to eBay, they'd go to Walmart, they'd go to Rakuten, they'd go to Jet.com, they'd go to Mercury, the new online selling app that I'm actually using and enjoying quite a bit. They go to one of those places, and Amazon might not be number one anymore. You never know. Third-party sellers are a huge reason Amazon is as big as they are. Keep that in mind in the future. But we're going to end that conversation there. So what do you folks think? Do you agree, disagree? I would love to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly, and you get access to my Patreon's exclusive blog. Also, if gas prices are getting just a little up for you, check out the Get Upside app below. It's totally free, but you get cash back on every gas purchase. If you want more content from me that's not rideshare related, subscribe to my other channels, Kevin T. Rodriguez, the Autograph Hound, and Apptrepreneur Vlogs. And finally, if you want to talk to me or other fellow e-commerce sellers, talk to us at the Apptrepreneur Hangouts on Facebook. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.